Welcome to the Wild Ways podcast. I'm Lyman Miller. It's been a while since I've been on the air. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to transition to an outdoor life or where I'm at in that journey. But first, talk about a couple things that are going on in BC in the last month or so. The Grizzly attacks. There's been like 4 of them in the last month or so. So I'll just go through them real quick. Fort St. James, about an hour and a half from here. A guy got bit, not too bad. He was able to get away and go on his own to medical help. On October 3rd, a guy got hurt real bad up in southeastern BC, a place called Fort Steele. Apparently he was calling for elk. Bear came out of the bush and got him really bad. I guess he had to be airlifted, and he's still recovering with the long road to recovery in Kelowna. So wishing him the best. He did get a gunshot off, and he did wound the bear, and I just seen an article in the paper that they had found the bear dead. So let's hope for a recovery for the guy. Unfortunately, the bear had to be killed here. October 10th by Bella Coola, Grizzly broke into a lady's home, and the dog scared it away, and I guess a couple days later it broke into her car. And then on October 12th, about an hour away from where I'm sitting, 2 hikers were mauled really bad just northeast of me, and one of them got hurt real bad. Again, had to be airlifted to Prince George here, where they're both recovering, but one person's hurt really bad. Goes to show, the government's closure of that grizzly bear hunt. There is no shortage of grizzlies. These human grizzly encounters are going to continue to go up. In my opinion, I have all kinds of them out where I hunt and trap. In fact, I'll do a video on that soon about some of the encounters we've had out there. But what's going to happen is sooner or later, and it's already happening now. I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. People that live in the backcountry and not down in the city where they make these rules, which aren't based on science whatsoever, that's for another day. But what's going to happen is if these grizzlies continue to threaten people, we're not allowed to hunt them. People are just going to shoot them and bury them. It's unfortunate. There's a whole whack of people that would pay money to harvest a grizzly, and instead now, conservation officers are going to have to kill the problem bears that are wandering through towns up in the north. So it's ridiculous that our tax dollars are doing this when we could literally have people come here and pay money to harvest one, and we could keep their numbers under control. And another antidote to that is the grizzlies are real hard on black bears too. So black bears seem to be everywhere. I had one in my yard this morning, but they're not such a problem when it comes to attacking humans. The grizzly is the real deal. When they attack, it's for real. It's serious. And I hope those people that got hurt, that's 4 that I know of in the last month. So I hope those people that are hurt real bad are speedy recovery there. Another interesting thing that's been reported, and it's going to lead back into my transition a little bit, is, and it doesn't happen that often, but it's happened this year, and there's 3 reports of it, is people are poaching cattle now in BC. Sometime like late September, there was a confirmed poaching of a cow near Merritt, BC. After that, there's been a couple of more poaching incidents, one by Quesnel, one by Hickson, which is about an hour to an hour and a half south of me. I honestly believe that with the price of everything in Canada right now, and the fact that Canada's falling apart, it's almost unaffordable. People are taking matters into their own hands and probably going to get their own beef. Is that right? Not at all. But people are, getting desperate here in this country. A lot of people are anyways, not everyone, but it's almost unaffordable to buy meat in the grocery store now. When you look at a couple of prime steaks, or can be between 60 and 90 bucks. Beef tenderloin at Costco's out of this world. It's over $200. I think these people aren't doing anything other than what they think is right to survive at the moment. So hopefully the country gets proper leadership in here and we turn the ship around, because otherwise it's just burning to the ground with the homeless and the drug problems and different cultures coming in here and pushing and shoving. part of the reason leads me back into where I'm at in terms of going from a town guy that worked in business and had businesses and employees to attempting to make full-time go at the outdoor lifestyle. So, where I was quite into, like, as a young guy, I'd always dreamed of living in the outdoors and doing the hunting and fishing and stuff like that. As a young guy, I'd always been into hunting and fishing. And as a matter of fact, I had a dream when I was a real young guy of having an outdoor brand. This is 25 years ago, called Lyman Outdoors. And I'd even made hats for it. And I just never had the courage to pursue that. And I don't know if it was because I was worried about what my family would say or my friends would say, or if I was nervous on doing stuff on the camera. This was back at the infancy of the modern day, YouTube and all that stuff. It was right at the beginning. It was before a lot of major brands that are out now. And there's a part of me that's always stuck with. Looking back, I should have just went for it, because it seems to be a lot more difficult now when you fast forward my age 20 years, 15 or 20 years, and I'm jumping back into it. But long story short, what happened is I went into this phase of my life where I was real ambitious to get business done and real ambitious to make millions and work hard and train to do that through our education system. And so I had went into business with my dad. I'd worked a job at the mill. I became a millwright there. And then on the side, I was helping my dad get going in the car business. And it was great. I mean, we were burning the candle at both ends, or I was at least, having fun and trying to build something, and we did it together. And we had a great few, early years. It was exciting to go to work. It was exciting to make money and buy cars and learn that part of the business. And it enabled me to meet a tremendous amount of people. I mean, I met people that I would never have met had I stayed, just at the mill. Business opened up a lot of doors in terms of connections and meeting great people. Then over the years, I got into other businesses, and I had a total of 9, partners, and 5 or 6 businesses, and lots of employees, sometimes 40, 50, 60, and just got into the grind of it. And over those years, you get used to it. And looking back now, every single one of those companies and every single one, because we were a small business and we were working hard, but we never really had a lot of money. So every single payday that we had for our guys, I was kind of thinking about it, making sure we had the money there, and again, like, learning a lot. But over the years, it starts to wear you out, especially when you have a family. And I sacrificed a tremendous amount of family time due to late nights, travel, work trips, guys coming in from out of town. You need to go for dinner and beers and do all that stuff, and that's all fine. Looking back, I should have been a little more balanced in that approach. Is probably which caused me to really start to envy the outdoor lifestyle that I had not pursued as a child. And I had dealt with a lot of, through business and our store and stuff, a lot of hunting guides and hunters and trappers and fishermen that did that. And I always loved to hear their stories, as they came in, and we developed good friendships and relationships that way. And as the years go by, I got away from, I was a real weekend warrior. If I could go hunting, sometimes I even missed hunting trips because of work would get in the way all the time. And after a while, you kind of get used to that, and you get used to this little comfort zone. Like, if you looked outside and it was cold out, and you can hunt real close to my house here, and sometimes you just wouldn't do it because you're in your warm, comfortable place. And so after a while, that kind of gets on you, and you get out of shape a little bit, or at least I did anyways. And I guess I started to live a little bit of a life of, like, some silent desperation, and realizing that my life's half over. At least my capable years are half over for sure, being able to move around and do some of this outdoor stuff that I want to do. You live this life a little bit of silent desperation. Then what happened is COVID hit. And COVID was a real eye-opener for me. And I don't know where you are, but in Canada, it was real brutal. It opened my eyes. Like it almost made me realize that we're all slaves. Like we had people that have no idea what they're talking about trying to force certain things on us, and they locked down the country and they divided friends and families. None of that is looking like at the time I knew it, but looking around, like that's all ridiculous. Like who on earth be told what to do by some of our politicians? And you know, it made me realize that there sure is a lot of sheep in this world, and people that blindly listen to and want to listen to somebody that is up in their mind higher on the ladder and knows more. And it was brutal to see people, you know, we weren't, you know, allowed in restaurants. People had to live in a so-called bubble. It was all retarded. It was all ridiculous. And it really drove it home, especially with the business closures. It really made me realize in my own mind anyways that there's some kind of weird spiritual warfare going on. And at the end of the day, I want to be left alone along with my family. And as the head of my household, I try to make the best decisions for my family, regardless of what some weirdo from another part of this world and another mindset tries to force upon myself, my wife, and my children. So that was a real eye opener, and some businesses did excellent, some got crushed then, and that was, I would say that was the start of the breaking point for me, is looking around, seeing that they didn't have a certain medical procedure that they wanted you to get. You couldn't go watch your kid practice at a hockey rink. It was unbelievable. So that was the start, and obviously that's 5 years ago. So it takes time to transition, especially when you have a lot going on and you have, you know, 15 years of business going on. It takes a day to open a business. It takes a long time to get out of one. And so I started that procedure probably 2 years ago and had a lot of headaches doing that, a lot of pain in doing that, a lot of mental pain in doing that. It wasn't just pain and having to deal with the government and your banks and all that nonsense. It was the mental transition and trying to get your head around all of that stuff that needs to happen, and also at the same time pushing forward with ideas on how to make money in the new lifestyle that I want to live, which is an outdoor lifestyle. So there was a real big mental transition, and that's part of the reason why I've been off the air for so long. You know, a number of months now. We got videos back up, rolling again. I'm back into it, is because I was cleaning up part of the old life, which is still ongoing, but it's getting better. And at the same time, trying to push ideas on what I'm going to do to earn revenue in my new lifestyle. One of the things there is you really got to push through that procrastination of dealing with old shit that you don't like and you hate, and at the same time pushing through the procrastination of like creating new ideas, creating new ways to make revenue to provide for my family. And I want to be, you know, effectively, I just want to eat what I kill, so to speak. So I want to create stuff that if I create it, it's my idea, and I do all the work, and there's profit there. I get to keep it and not have to pay it out to everybody. And that's something that I felt like I never really had in the business. And again, we didn't run it perfectly. We tried our best. Sorry, I had to take a quick break there. My kid needed something, so I took a break. But yeah, we weren't perfect in that aspect. But now as I transition into the new outdoor lifestyle I want, there's been a few challenges there. One is in your head. When you think about it lots, it seems sometimes it's easier to think about than it is to do. It's easier said than done. One is like your body's got to get used to it, being outside again all the time, which is great. It's just it's an adjustment, and then I got to figure out how to make money. So there's a bunch of different ways that you could go about trying to make money. And what I've learned about the outdoor lifestyle is revenue streams. It's, you know, obviously I was in business and I haven't been an actual employee in a long time, but an employee, you kind of know you're getting paid most of the time every second Friday. Plan your life around that. And this new venture I'm in, man, you're hand to mouth everything that I'm trying to do, and starting from nothing, it's going to be a bit of a challenge. And one of the challenges is to figure out what to do to make money. And now I don't want to fall into the old trap of like just doing stuff I don't really want to do, but it feeds my family. So I'm trying to do things that will bring income, but also move me toward the lifestyle, my ultimate lifestyle. So I wrote down, I took notes, I brainstormed, and there's a million things you can do. You can be a hunting guide, a fishing guide, a trapper. You can write. You can try to do it on YouTube. You can create products. You can sell products for other people. The list goes on and on. It's what do you want to focus on? So I'm going to focus on a few different revenue streams. One of the things I'm going to do is trap. I'm moving toward getting back into trapping. I had to take about close to 10 years pretty much off, and prior to that I was a recreational trapper. So we'd buy the steaks and the beer and the whiskey and head out on the weekends, and now I want to do it to where I'm using it as potential revenue. So you really have to sharpen your pencil and think that one through in terms of how much money you're spending to go out on the trap line to collect fur. It's a tough market. One of the things I'm gonna do is like utilize the entire animal. In a beaver, for example, you got to take the casters out. You got to do something with the carcass other than just bait for your traps. The skull, the fur, obviously. I'm just going to try to utilize the whole thing and make little. I guess they're all little revenue streams, and hopefully add up to being worth my time, because it's a tremendous amount of work. I think there's lots and lots of jobs out there that are easier than trapping, but I want to do it. I'm still able-bodied, so that's one of my areas that I'm going to focus on this winter. Another one is and this will take forever. Don't take any money, but I'm going to try writing. I'm working through that. I mean, when 15 years ago, 20 years ago, it came so easy. It was almost natural, and all these years of brain damage later. And what I mean by that is all the people and all the stuff that gets stuck in your head. You got to work through that so you can get creative again. Another thing that I'm going to do, I think, anyways, I'm working toward it. I'm in the planning stages of it. Is maybe some trapline tours where I bring people out there to experience it. That would add income to what I'm doing already. Some other local events I'm working through to create a little bit of income. But basically, a guy could go foraging. I could go seasonally foraging for, mushrooms or chaga or fiddleheads or anything like that. I've been thinking about doing that just to do it for exercise, sort of like a working holiday, being out in the bush. You do get eaten by mosquitoes certain times a year and all that, but it would be a neat experience to try before I, get old and can't do it and die. So outdoor education is another one I've been thinking about. Just don't know how deep into that I want to get, but maybe there's some youth that need that their parents want them out into the wilderness and learning some survival stuff and some trapping and fishing and stuff like that. I might do that, but I'm still working through that. At the same time, I'm back on the videos. Like money per hour, it's not even, you can't even quantify that. It's a lifestyle. So the money per hour doesn't mean anything. It's revenue streams. It's how many revenue streams I can get going, and regardless of the amount of work and hours that I have to put in to do that, I'm just trying to pick the ones that really resonate with me in some way and working toward that. And I hope that maybe some of you can learn from some of the mistakes I'm making, because I sort of jumped into it. Although it doesn't seem like it does take time, and especially when you're older, it takes time to adjust. I've been doing a lot of meditating over this and a lot of daily affirmations to get me stay going, moving forward, even though it's really hard. I really gonna focus on the hunting, fishing, trapping, the exploring, and seeking truth. I think over the last 5 years, my faith has come back. I feel like I went away from it for a long time. Life was pretty easy, and the last 5 years have been a real challenge, and it's brought my faith back, which is such a wonderful thing. And hopefully I can be a good example for at least my family and maybe some other people as well. And getting back to this technology, like I'm so rusty on it. I'm working on getting better at that. I got a website. I'm gonna sell a few products on that. So I'll end up with the YouTube channel, this podcast. I'm gonna do a series on seeking truth. Then I'm on like all the other little social media things too, but my primary focus will be my website and YouTube. And then my writing a little bit. I'm on Substack just to get my feet wet in that again. But if you want to check out what I got, it's a work in progress. It's always getting better. You can check out my website at thewildways.ca. Obviously, my YouTube channel, Lyman's Wild Ways. I do have some new videos out now. I've got more coming and some ideas, so I encourage you to check those out on YouTube and become part of this community that I'm trying to build of like-minded people, for the outdoors and hunting, fishing, trapping, getting away from this nonsense of online. I went down probably every single rabbit hole you could during the COVID era, and I found it wasn't healthy. Going on Twitter or X and looking at the news and seeing who's up to what is unhealthy. So I've taken a step back from that. It sure has helped me mentally. And then, like, I would just get angry before when I seen what people were up to, particularly politicians, and what they would say is ridiculous. It doesn't stand for my values at all. So I've gotten away from all that, and I encourage you guys to take a little bit of a step back from some of the toxic stuff that's out there. Yeah, one last thing, like I was lucky enough to be born in British Columbia. It's beautiful here. We got, honestly, arguably some of the best landscape in the world. I obviously haven't been around the world, but everything from our north coast to the mountains, everything in between, there's thousands of lakes. Once you're out of the Vancouver area, the Lower Mainland area, you are pretty much on your own. There's not a lot of people around. If you want to get away from somebody, you can get away real easy here and not see another person, literally all year. I like that. I like the freedom of that. We have lots of land here that we can go and check and explore. So, and in all of that, I mean, nature's my church, and it seems to be aligning me more with my core values, my family values, my lifestyle, my health, physically and spiritually. I'm going to continue doing that. If you made it this far, folks, thank you very much for listening, and I will catch you next time. Take care. Have a wonderful day.